howdy. This is the video that is going to be rectifying my mistakes that were in, what's the word? Damn, already lost my train of thought entirely. Relevance, I don't know, about Nova. Okay, there we go, look at me, big brain. So, let me think, where did it start with? Okay, first the tier list video, okay. With the tier list video, I placed Nova poorly because I had a lot of misconceptions about her, and then I had also gone over stuff about her in the 5 frames that needed some love. Now, I'm too lazy to get rid of the tier list here. I mean, I could. If you think I should, then maybe I'll just unlist or delete or something. But I did I unlisted the 5 frames that need some love, because I do stick to Hildren and Necros, and who was the last one? It was Hildren, Necros, Nova, Knight, Anaros, and I completely forgot the last one. Oh, Oberon. I do still think they need some love, right? But I think I needed to be more precise, or not precise, I don't know. In regards to Anaros, it was more about like level cap stuff specifically, and something I seem to be doing, not on purpose, by accident, because I'm usually all over the place, is talking about stuff and then like just immediately assuming it's for level cap, and then like sometimes jumping between whether it's level cap or not level cap, and then a lot of the time I don't even specify that which one of the things it is. So I'm really bad about that. I'm gonna try to sort of specify which it is and separate the two things, whether or like when talking about stuff in any video from now on. Hopefully I do better about that. But I think Anaros didn't deserve to be in that list. He does still need some slight changes, I think, but he shouldn't have been in the 5 of the frames that need the most love, and Nova didn't either. So, long intro. I don't remember. I'll probably not remember the timestamp. I keep forgetting I need to have somebody just always yell at me to timestamp stuff, but if I remember, hopefully they'll be timestamped. Dang it, I still didn't max out this. Okay, I know this isn't maxed out. But trust me when I say I have been playing with her. Actually, I'm kind of salty because I just realized I've been playing with her without this. Dang it. Okay, another thing to point out is I'm not going to be showing Nova in mission because the main things I wanted to correct that had gone wrong were just like informational. So this isn't like a Nova build video. This is not what that is. It's just about Nova, and I guess maybe for people that don't know about Nova, maybe you'll learn some stuff along with me having had learned stuff. So it will be in the simulacrum, but so that I did play with her a lot. I played with her in mission, okay? I didn't just use it in the simulacrum or whatever. I was playing with her in mission because I wanted to make sure I had a good grasp or understanding of the feel or the flow of gameplay when you're running around and you're using the Antimatter Drop. I think I needed to make sure I got that. It's still mostly performed relatively to how I was expecting it to. After I have obviously knew all the correct information about it, but I wanted to make sure I knew how it felt to play with in mission. So now that's all of the intro stuff out of the way. Alright, so let us start with all of her abilities here. We'll go here. Now, I still think some of the stuff that I had said about Nova still stays true, such as the passive being doo-doo water, but that's not really, I don't think anyone's gonna contest me on that opinion. And most frames in the game have really bad passives. Hopefully they get changed in the future, like Nova 2, right? A lot of frames need better passives, but for now the passive's worthless, but that's half the frames, or probably more than half even. Her first ability. Now, I didn't take out the augment part, right? With the ability itself. Now, I didn't get anything necessarily wrong about it, but I do think I undervalued the damage reduction because it's useful in not level cap stuff, which is what 99% of players play. So if you were to use that, and it does take 300% duration to make use of it, but that's not an issue if you're building for a normal non-endurance run build. So this isn't a build video, this is just an example. This is not saying this is the best build ever. but something similar to this, right? Because you can build this pretty easy. We got like, you know, some sort of, or this is not needed. The aura's really whatever you want, but you can use this so that you get your first ability back, and then you just, you know, you're always spamming Molecular Prime. We have 300% duration because of molt efficiency, which is going to give us the max 18 null stars with a 90% damage reduction. And this, instead of energize, I sold mine because I was desperate for plats. But I would run, where is it? Blessing. Because this will give you up to an extra, what was it, like 1200 HP, something like that. So that will give you a massive health pool. And because it's a flat amount, it doesn't matter that she doesn't have high base HP. And then you get the 90% DR here because the DR from Null Star only affects your HP. And then you could go for armor because she has low base armor and you don't really want to have to get rid of mods just to put armor on. You could just run like a blue Tau Forge for armor, right? Like even like 2 blue Tau Forge for armor would give you way higher armor for much higher DR. So that with this would be that like general idea of a build would be a lot better than I gave it credit for, I guess, in non-endurance stuff, which again is what most people do. So I would recommend using that. Hopefully I spliced that out, or trimmed it out anyways. Wait, where was I? Dang it, I just lost my train of thought. Sorry, I was talking to somebody having you. Anyways, decent build, can't remember where I was just at. I have a horrible memory. Onwards, the Null Star. I do still think its augment needs change, but I don't think anyone's gonna think it's like the greatest anyways. This needs some help, but it's something, I guess. That's, I don't really think I'm forgetting anything with her 1. Then we have her 2, which is the main, well, actually, I want to save her 2 for last, okay, because that's like the main thing I got wrong. So let's go to her 4th ability next. Now, her 4th ability is a little strange. Let's spawn these enemies in. And do I have, hang on a second, I need to switch to a different weapon because it's easier to show it off what I'm about to do if I can actually, you know, kill the enemies. That would make life a lot easier. There we go. So the Molecular Prime only actually increases the damage you do to enemies on their HP. It does not affect Overguard or shields, which is something worth noting. Also, it's a little strange in the damage it does around it, right? It has a little inconsistent. Look at that. 2397, I think that's it, and this guy was 96 damage. Even if it had 90% fall off, that is not right. It's a little wonky. Now, I couldn't really find any information as to why that is on the wiki or other YouTube videos. I watched a bunch of videos, I read stuff on Reddit, I read it, like every single page about Nova on the wiki. So I'm not really sure what's up with that. It's very strange. And the damage also in general is higher than what it should be, so I think it might scale with level. Even if it does, though, it's not to a high enough degree that it can actually do a large amount of damage. Now, on normal star chart stuff, it is going to kill stuff, and maybe base steel path, if you have decent strength, it might be able to kill stuff, the explosions from Molecular Prime when an enemy dies. But generally speaking, I don't think the explosions themselves are actually that valuable. You're mostly using it for the bonus damage on the enemies, I'd say. But if you're doing like stuff where the enemies are low enough HP that they can die, or you got viral and armor strip everywhere, then I suppose it could just cascade with explosions everywhere. There is a funny thing you can do with that, though, sort of, with, I don't think they fixed it, but there was something with Zada's Whisper, and you could, like, nuke everything with Molecular Prime and Zada's Whisper. I'm not exactly sure how that works. It was very, hard to understand, but, very complicated. But if you want to see something about it, I think A's Invasions had a pretty good video from, like, a year ago about it, so if you want to know more about the Zod's Whisper Molecular Prime Nuke, check that out, but that's not usually what people are going to be using on Nova, I don't think. I do still think that it should go out faster than it does. It does go out very slow, and I wish it affected Overguard and Shields. Other than that, it's mostly fine as an ability. There's not really much else to say about it. Then there's the third ability. I do wish it was still a little bit closer, like I had said before in the other video, and I do wish it cost 50 energy instead of 75, because there are a lot of better movement tools in the game that cost less energy on other Warframes. So it's a little bit outdated, but there's not really too much else to the ability. It's a very simple, straightforward ability that I know of, right? I don't think there's really much else you can do with it. The number of portals and number of uses, I guess, isn't really a problem. That way you don't have like too many around the map and it just causes everything to break. I'm assuming that's probably why DE put in a limited number of uses and portals, but only they would know, right? Now, that covers all the other stuff, which wasn't really important. The main thing that matters is Antimatter Drop. This is the big thing I got wrong. I was very misinformed about it. I'm not exactly sure why I thought this stuff about it. Maybe it was old information or a friend told me. The bottom line is I was very, very wrong about Antimatter Drop. It's still not like the best nuking ability in the game, but it is a lot better than I gave credit for. Now, first of all, it does not scale with range, so you do not need to build range on it, as you can see. Secondly, it does scale with strength, despite it saying it does not. So if I put on strength, you can see it does not affect Antimatter Drop. But it does. I mean, okay, it does affect the orb damage itself, but we're referring to the damage absorption. That's the only thing that really matters here. It does affect the damage absorption. As of an update from about a year ago, I think, they made it so whether it was a bug or it was intended, strength affects Antimatter Drop's damage absorption as well as the damage cap. There's a base cap of, I believe, 25,000 damage. And that scales with strength, even though it does not visually show it does. So you do want some level of strength on it. It has 0 fall off over the explosion radius, and it is able to go through walls like most explosion type things in the game. It also is counted as a weapon. So Eclipse, the helmet ability, that's supposed to work on it. Arcane Arachne, Vigorous Swap, right? Anything like that. Any general damage buff that isn't specific to like primaries or secondaries is going to affect the damage dealt by Antimatter Drop. Now, because of that, you can actually run it with, where is it? Mutalist Quanta, which is something people use on, like, Vobin with his Flechette orbs. Now, Mutalist Quanta has a trait where anything that fires through it or does damage through it that's a weapon gets bonus electricity damage. And while it doesn't show it here, it adds crit rate and crit damage to it as well, because normally you cannot crit with Antimatter Drop. Antimatter Drop also absorbs damage based off of the base damage of a weapon, right? Like it's like damage will scale with it, but crits and crit damage do nothing, and statuses also do nothing to it. So that's something you want to keep in mind, which makes high base damage weapons that don't rely heavily on status a lot better for hitting that damage cap very fast. And I find Latum to be very good for that. Dang it, that's not Nova. Wait, no, that was Nova. I think that's mostly it for how it generally works. Now I want to show it, so where's the Nova build? Here it is. Switch here, take this off, and go here. Now, it also will follow the reticle and go out slowly forwards, and wherever you move your reticle, it will go, and it won't explode until it comes into contact with something, like an object or an enemy or whatever it may be. It does not ignore armor, though. So its base damage on its own isn't going to be enough usually to kill anything past level 200. So like if we, here, we'll switch to this, cast it out, that'll easily hit the damage cap, 1920. So having an armor strip will already give you way more damage. See, you know, we just did 10 times damage because these guys had 90% DR. Then you add in like Arcane Arachne, which we have on this build. Now we do it again. And it was much, much higher damage. You can also add in like viral spreading from your companion and stuff. Now, in regards to the Mutalisc Quanta part of it, which lets you get the crits and stuff. Oh yeah, also molecular prime effects it, but you're always going to have that anyway, so you'll usually have the bonus damage from that. With the Mutalisc Quanta, you saw that crit for like 6.5 million. It will give you more damage, but I don't really find it to be easy to do or use on controller, at least. It might be a lot easier on console, but when you're running around to have to switch weapons, alt fire, switch weapons, ability, and then shoot into it, and if it goes through it you screw up, it's a bit annoying. So I'd rather just completely skip out on Mutalisc Quanta entirely, and then that also opens up your primary slot. If you're armor stripping and you have Arcane Arachne, you're usually going to have enough damage as is, plus, you know, molecular prime, to be able to kill mostly anything in the game. And then you can also add in like viral procs or magnetic procs if they have Overguard, which isn't too difficult to get because of your companion. Now, as far as nuking abilities goes, it's fairly decent. 15 meters is nice. It does still have the issue of if you suck at the game at aiming, like me, you are going to have a bit of issues when you're running around, because if you're running around and then, dang, I ran in hand, hang on, immediately screwed up. If you're like running around bull jumping, you want to throw it out and then nuke it, you can accidentally fly past it, so you got to be careful about that. And sometimes when you're going around and you're shooting, I don't know, it's just, if you're doo-doo water at the game, then this isn't going to shine as well as if you were like really good at the game. But I guess that really applies to most things in video games anyways. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh yeah, the augment. So if you use the augments, I'm so salty I wasn't using this maxed out when I was playing with her. I actually feel like an idiot now. But this gives you, at max, 5 meters around this. It will absorb all the damage done to enemies. So you can use it as a shield. You can cast it out and just sort of stay around it, and then you just won't take damage, because everything in a 5 meter radius around it will just all get absorbed, all of the enemy's attacks. So it gives a ton of survivability to her. Very much worth using. That's mostly it. I'll probably do a Nova Max investment video sometime in the future, which will be, dang, I've been up all night. I can't think of words right now. It'll give her much better credits that she deserves. I put her in, I think, C tier on the tier list. I'd say she's more accurately to be around like top of A tier. That sounds right to me. I want to put her in S tier, but she is very strong nonetheless. Both in endurance, if you use her right, and especially on base steel path, since there you could build to make her tanky, like with this. Hopefully this rectifies all of the mistakes I had gotten about her. I don't think I've forgotten anything. If I did, let me know in the comments. But yeah, that's going to do it for the fixing all of the wrong stuff I said about Nova video. Big Woe. Adios.